Welcome back to Moto Next Hub, your spot for in-depth reviews, future-focused moto tech, and the best breakdowns in the riding world. Today we're diving into a machine that refuses to let the supersport segment fade quietly into history. This is the 2026 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R, a bike that brings back the iconic 600 class energy with fresh design cues, sharper performance tuning, and a spec sheet aimed at riders who still want that perfect balance of agility, speed, and visceral engagement. So if you're thinking about stepping up from a 400, comparing this to a leader bike, or just curious about what Kawasaki has done to keep this class alive, stick around. Let's get into it. Design a fresher, edgier Ninja. The first thing you notice about the 2026 ZX-10R is that Kawasaki has leaned hard into a more futuristic, race-inspired aesthetic. The front fairing is slimmer and more aerodynamic than the previous generation, incorporating a revised ram air duct and a new LED headlight cluster that looks more aggressive while reducing drag. The front silhouette is clean, minimal, and unmistakably ninja. Along the sides, the fairings have sharper character lines that give the bike a sense of motion even when it's standing still. Kawasaki's signature lime green is still an option, but the 2026 lineup also introduces a darker metallic finish and a track edition paint scheme that features lighter accents and subtle graphics. The tail section is even more compact, integrating a cleaner LED tail light and a sleeker pillion seat design. Everything about the bike gives off a modern supersport vibe, lean, fast, functional, but still clearly connected to its ZX roots. Engine performance: a refined, responsive, exciting under the fairings. Kawasaki continues with the beloved 636cc inline-4 engine, but with updated internals, new intake tuning, and revised throttle mapping. These refinements help the bike meet stricter global emissions standards while maintaining and in some ranges improving the mid-range punch that riders love about the 636 platform. Power sits around the 128 horsepower mark with ram air assist, and torque is just over 52 Nm, delivered with a smoother curve that makes the bike more usable in real-world riding. The throttle response is more linear, especially at lower RPM, giving newer riders confidence without dulling the bike's performance for aggressive track use. The quick shifter is now standard on all trims and works both up and down, offering crisp, fast shifts that keep the engine in its sweet spot. Combined with the close ratio gearbox, it helps the bike maintain incredible momentum on corner exits. As for top speed, the 2026 ZX-10R still comfortably sits in the 245–250 km/h range, depending on gearing and rider position. Handling a supreme mid-sized precision, the ZX-10R has always been a masterclass in handling, and this updated version takes that identity even further. Kawasaki has revised the chassis rigidity balance, adjusting the frame and swing arm's flexibility to improve feedback during high-speed cornering. The bike remains incredibly flexible, making small corrections intuitive and aggressive direction changes effortlessly smooth. Whether you're carving switchbacks or setting yourself up for a sweeping apex at track speed, the 2026 model communicates clearly through the bars and pegs. The fully adjustable Showa SFFBP front forks return with improved damping control, while the rear uni-track shock has been retuned for better mid-corner stability and comfort on rougher roads. The suspension range still supports both street riding and full-track setups, giving the ZX-10R versatility that is rare in the supersport class. Braking is handled by dual radial-mounted monoblock calipers gripping 310mm discs, supported by a revised ABS system that intervenes later and more intelligently than the previous generation. Coupled with the bike's light curb weight, just around 196 kilograms depending on trim, stopping power is strong, predictable, and confidence-inspiring. Tech electronics: a modern but purposeful supersports have traditionally leaned toward minimal electronics, but the 2026 ZX-10R strikes a careful balance. Kawasaki has expanded its suite of rider aids without making the experience feel detached or overly computerized. You get 3 riding modes with adjustable power delivery, multi-level traction control, refined for smoother engagement, 2-stage engine braking control, cornering ABS, thanks to the new EMU integration launch control, available on the Track Edition model, Bluetooth-enabled TFT display with turn-by-turn navigation. The TFT screen is crisp, easy to read, and customizable. The new smartphone integration allows you to view ride logs, adjust settings, and receive notifications, making the bike practical for daily use without diluting its performance DNA. Ergonomics is still a true supersport, but more livable. The riding position remains unmistakably supersport, forward-leaning, aggressive, and built for precision. That said, the 2026 version introduces slightly revised clip-on angles and a marginally more cushioned seat to reduce fatigue on longer rides. The tank has a sculpted design that offers better grip for knee anchoring during cornering. For daily commuting, the ergonomics are still demanding, but Kawasaki has clearly tried to make the bike a little more accessible without compromising its purpose. Wind protection is improved thanks to a slightly taller windscreen, which deflects air more effectively at highway speeds. Sound character. One of the biggest joys of the ZX-10R is the soundtrack, that signature inline 4 wail as it climbs past 10,000 RPM. The 2026 update keeps that identity alive despite emissions limitations. Kawasaki engineered the airbox and exhaust to maintain the engine's high revving scream, giving riders the familiar race-bred auditory experience. Low-end rumble, mid-range growl, top-end howl, it's all still there. Unique selling points. AWHY the 2026 ZX-10R matters. So what sets this bike apart in 2026, when many manufacturers have stepped away from the 600cc category? It preserves the true supersport feeling: light, precise, high revving, reactive. It balances modern tech with rider engagement, not overwhelming the experience with electronics. It offers track-ready performance right off the showroom floor. The 636 engine remains unique, giving the ZX-10R a torque advantage over traditional 600s. It targets riders looking for a stepping stone between lower displacement bikes and 1000cc machines. With the class shrinking, the ZX-10R stands out not just as another sport bike, but as one of the last authentic middleweight supersports still evolving. Price. Expected 2026 market range. Kawasaki's pricing tends to stay competitive, and for the 2026 model year, the expected price for the Ninja ZX-10R is, base model, around $11,999, $12,499. Track Edition, performance model, $13,499, $14,299. This positions the bike as a relatively accessible supersport, especially when compared to the rising prices of liter machines. Conclusion. A final verdict. The 2026 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R doesn't reinvent the supersport world, it refines it. It delivers exactly what fans of the 600 class want: a razor-sharp machine with beautiful power delivery, modern tech, and track-capable hardware. It stays true to its lineage while keeping up with current standards. For riders who crave precision, high-revving excitement, and the pure connection between rider and machine, the ZX-10R continues to be one of the best platforms available. If you're thinking about entering the supersport segment, upgrading from a 400 or 500, or you simply want a bike that blends performance and control without jumping into liter bike territory, the 2026 Ninja ZX-10R should absolutely be on your list.